and then going to hand it over to Tanya. Tanya, take it away.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Actually, this is a little sidebar, but I just discovered Chris brought these paper towels. Like, has anyone seen them? I mean, it's like, what? It's a paper towel. How cool is that? Look, it's the little things for me.
Oh my God, we just said the little things at the same time.
I'm so impressed. So, okay. Now we are going to move it forward on the agenda and discuss the voting and vote on the MOU with Peerless and the Wyland Park Civic Association. Michael Wilkos will be
I
back.
can go second if there's someone else to speak.
No, you.
Oh, okay.
That. Yeah.
Good evening. My name is Michael Wilkos. I live on 9th Avenue, Hamlet. I've lived in the neighborhood for 13 years. There's a couple things we wanted to walk through with you with regard to the proposed project on 7th Avenue at 50 East 7th. We have been meeting now for the last 2 months on a weekly basis up until recently to walk through an entire series of issues when it comes to new development. We have been very, very fortunate that Kathy Fox, who introduced herself earlier, who has worked in and around development projects in Columbus ever since I met her as a student intern in 1988. So that goes way back. So I've actually been working on housing issues for 33 years in Columbus. And so I wanted to give just a little bit of context. I first want to point out the renderings you see on this first page. These are not the final renderings. These are really scale and massing drawings, so you can see how the building steps back at different locations. And I will just also point out that the very last page, the last picture shows the version of the building that we started with just 2 months ago. So we'll walk through some of those details. The building has gotten shorter. The parking has moved into a subterranean kind of space because of the sloping of that location. It allows that to occur. What I do want to start off with, though, is some of the issues around the context of the current Columbus housing landscape. I do want to share with folks, so I work at United Way. We fund a lot of nonprofits in the community, but because of that role and my background in housing and urban planning, I currently serve on the University Area Commission, as does Davide and Brian Williams, but I'm also on the Columbus Urban League's Equity Now Coalition. I'm on their Neighborhoods and Built Environment. I'm also on Converge Columbus, which is a new organization that increased the home ownership rate of African Americans by 5 percentage points over 5 years. There will be a public launch of that effort in mid-July. I've also served on the regional housing strategy for the Menlo Regional Planning Commission, which looks at trying to increase affordability and increase supply in the 7-county metro. I also am on the board of the Continuum of Care. That's all of the federal money that comes to Columbus and Franklin County to address a housing crisis or a housing shortage. I will in August be a member of BREAD, Building Responsibility, Equality, and Dignity, which is a group of 50 faith-based organizations. They have a housing committee. They just had another action, which actually was all about affordable housing and also increasing access. All of that to say, I am currently serving on 7 different boards, all focused on housing. And they've all come down to one thing. There has been chronic underbuilding. There has been chronic underbuilding now for a decade. And in suburban communities in Delaware County, in Dublin, Bethel and Sawmill Road, in German Village, and in the University District, you often hear people wanting to stop density. If you look at some of the facts we've assembled here with Matt and myself, we have grown by 220,000 people in the last 9 years. The rest of Ohio lost 68,000 people. No other part of Ohio has the housing pressures that we have. And we need to build 14,000 units of housing every single year just to meet population growth. We have been averaging 8,000 units a year, meaning every single year we fall 5,000 to 6,000 units short of what we needed for that year. Last year, it was the most construction in 15 years in the metro, and it was still 3,000 units less
than what we needed last year alone. What this means, apartment rents and home prices are skyrocketing in Central Ohio, unlike anywhere else in the state of Ohio. Zillow just said we were the hottest real estate market in the United States, based on the fact that 74% of all houses that go on the market sell in less than 7 days. That is driving a huge number of prospective home buyers into the rental market. Further frustrating the situation, there's 54,000 renters right now that have to pay 50% of their housing to afford rent, which means they have an incredible housing cost burden. It's important for me to share this kind of landscape because all over the city, we are seeing in some of the densest neighborhoods, Oak and 18th, on the Near East Side, there's a 4-story apartment building proposed. There were residents that organized to prevent that from being built. In German Village, Schumacher Place, a 4-story building was being built or proposed on the former Giant Eagle site, and there is organized opposition to stop that luxury project. We have the opportunity right now to basically voice our opinions, whether you are for or against this project. I'm certainly for it for all of the reasons I have just laid out. But we're also going to walk into the memorandum of understanding. This will be the first memorandum of understanding the Wineland Park Civic Association has ever had for a new project like this. As you look through that Word document, and there are several additional pages that have exhibits and other things that we didn't photocopy tonight, but they were provided electronically. It goes into everything from street trees to parking to trash, how trash is going to get picked up. This is an opportunity for us to basically have a really strong relationship with Peerless. In all the years I've worked in development, I must say I've never worked with a firm like Peerless who has been so willing to get through so many of these different things in such a relatively short period of time. To be, really honest about this situation, you can look at all kinds of projects, the IBEW site in the short north, or even the recent project at King and High. Some of these projects that take 18 months, 24 months to get approved, time costs money. And that means the developer has less money to put back in the project to give the project amenities. We've asked for a lot in this MOU, and I hope that you're very impressed with the things that are laid out in the MOU that Peerless has agreed to do. So what we'll be asking for this evening is for approval of the MOU, which will allow the project to go through the next step, which means it can go to the University Area Commission. If the MOU doesn't get approved, if the Civic Association doesn't approve the project, that doesn't mean it's not going to get built. I believe in a city that has been chronically underbuilding, in a project that is a mixed income housing project, where, and this is the kind of project we've been asking for years, 10% of the units will be at 80% area median income, 10% of the units will be at 90% area median income, which means 20% of the units will be income restricted. And that's because this building is being constructed in an opportunity zone. It's, maybe Peerless are great people, but they also need to provide 20% affordable housing based on the other incentive deals they are getting. The project that is there now is essentially 1 and 2 bedroom, there's a few 3-bedroom, but it's essentially a 1 and 2 bedroom market rate apartment complex built in 1966. You can see on the 3rd page, there's a picture of it in case you don't know what we're talking about. It's not the nicest thing in the world, but it is market rate, and rents there for a 2-bedroom are now $1,500. This is not affordable housing being lost for market rate. It's in effect market rate housing, which will become more market rate housing and provide affordable units. We've had lots of conversations over the year about gentrification. The number one contributing factor to gentrification is there's not enough units for Columbus's booming population. In fact, a new study that just came out on the impacts of COVID, Columbus was at the 6th highest increase in the United States in population growth due to COVID for 2 reasons. Number one, all the college graduates that were finishing their degrees over the last 16 months and got jobs, those jobs are virtual. And none of those young people moved to the San Franciscos and Bostons and LAs of the world because they didn't have to. And a lot of people who were in New York's and DC's and Boston's and LA's who realized they didn't have to pay $4,500 a month for rent anymore, who were from Columbus, they came home. So Columbus actually saw even increased pressure around growth. I think I've covered that. I think Matt's going to just pull out a few of the elements in the MOU that give the Civic Association such both credibility in the process, but also get so many benefits for the neighborhood. If I wasn't clear earlier, I will say this again. If we don't approve the MOU, if the Civic Association doesn't say yes, if the University Area Commission doesn't say yes, Columbus City Council can still say yes to the project. And personally, they probably should say yes, even if a neighborhood tries to block the project. If we vote no on the MOU and City Council votes yes, everything in the MOU, from trash to trees to parking, is all off the table. Peerless doesn't have to do any of those things. That's why I feel this MOU is such worthy of our support. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. It's we did a lot of hours of work with like 10 of us that met monthly and twice monthly, and it would be really disappointing to see all of that effort go to waste, to not have these agreements, not have a commitment from Peerless in the MOU. I would really hate to see that. So one of the cool things here is that Peerless has agreed to provide relocation assistance for current long-term tenants. They are going to give a really advanced notice of 90 days of any work that would start. They would provide priority access for existing tenants to the affordable apartment units in the new building. So it's really not a question of displacement. This is a market rate unit that's going to be replaced with more affordable housing. So I get they've just been really accommodating. What else should I touch on? They're
That can be a question maybe.
maybe Peerless can answer. Yeah, there's a tax abatement in return for their provision of affordable housing, and there's also an additional tax abatement with the Opportunity Zone agreement. But I don't know if we want to move to that now, or did you want me to touch on anything, Michael? I mean, I don't really want to go through this point by point. There's a lot of stuff in MOU. Laura?
Is there any kind of background to any particular points in the MOU? Since you were in all those meetings of that subcommittee, that you could tell us, like, were a result of concerns about workers or whatever, is there something you would want to know with neighbors about?
Yeah. Yeah, I would say based on the Uncommon project, the handling of trash was a really big issue for Euclid Avenue residents. So that was made loud and clear here. So there's a resolution process that's laid out in the MOU for trash, and a time limit that we need to have like a contact person on site at all times for trash to be handled if there's issues, and also with noise complaints. So that's an example of something that people voiced concerns with, and that was immediately a commitment from Peerless was obtained.
Question about the massing in the latest
Yeah.
version.
Question about the massing. Yeah.
Specifically the backside faces. Could you like just ask your questions to the people online? There's 13 people online.
I mean, I can restate your
Yeah.
question about the massing on the alley.
Yeah, and so how was that changed in this new version?
Yeah, I really don't know I'm not an expert on the iterations of it. Is the massing for this particular version is shorter?
Yeah, so the building is one entire floor shorter than the original version. You also, if you look at the comparison on that last page, you can see that the building was originally what's called I think it was a C-shaped building. And the new building is more of an M-shaped building or an E-shaped building, which means the building got shorter, but it got bulkier in order for the developer to continue to get the same number of units. What they also did is you can look at the alley version. One of the things that Euclid Avenue residents were very concerned about was how that building, the views from that building into people's backyards. So you'll also notice that the top floor of the building, even on the alley, does have a setback. So the experience of being in the alley will be that it's a 4-story building rather than a 5-story building. The current buildings that are there are 3-story. There is parking in the alley currently. So that parking will also be maintained. Some of the other things that you'll see that came from residents that live near the site was everything from lighting, right? Like they wanted there to be security and lighting, but they didn't want people's backyards to have lighting 24 hours a day, those kinds of things. The amount of trees, the quality of the trees. The other thing that was very important to the church was also about employment opportunities in the new building. Will there be made employment opportunities to do maintenance and other things in the building from people who live in the neighborhood? But specifically, and more importantly, it was the commitment to look at MBE, minority business enterprises and contractors, to either be subcontractors or potentially do custodial or maintenance and other things in the building. Those were things that were important to 7th Avenue. So those things are in the MOU. So it was really a combination of residents and stakeholders and others like Kathy Fox, who have negotiated these kinds of projects and are well aware of things like Donna Madler would be very concerned about trash. So we made sure issues around trash were in there for Donna.
Is it anticipated that Fearless will communicate back to the neighborhood about who ends up, how many MDUs they end up choosing for these different potential rules?
So the question is Peerless's commitment to answer back to some of the things in the MOU, including things like how many MBE businesses do ultimately get contracts because of the building, and I'll let folks from Peerless answer that question.
Thank you. And thanks everyone for the time tonight. Thank you, Michael, for the introduction. With regard to the MBE, I know we have some dates set for not only how we're going to implement that, but the sort of process around how we are going to track that. We are working preliminarily with Elford for some pre-construction services. We have already begun the process of talking to them about how they are handling diversity and equity and inclusion in their business. And we're very happy to hear that they have already been thinking about this and integrating this into their business practices. So, without knowing or stating a specific amount or number of contractors that we will issue contracts to, we're more so going to be working with the Wineland Park Civic Association to come up with a plan and a process for how we're going to include and implement including MBD or MBE participants in the contracting process. When's that date? August 31st. I think August 31st is the date that we laid out to complete that sort of process agreement.
Okay, thanks. Georgina?
As far as being MBE certified, that's a huge process, and some smaller minority-owned businesses may not be certified. But any of the smaller businesses have an opportunity to work. MBE certification is a big certification.
Georgina's asking if businesses that might be minority owned but don't have the MBE certification would still have an opportunity to engage with the project.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're looking exclusively at businesses that are already, certified, but we will be looking for businesses that are qualified to work on a project of this scale. That's really going to be the main thing, and that's going to be, we're going to lean on our general contractor that we end up selecting to be the one to really pre-qualify somebody who can handle the project. The decisions of who we hire cannot be driven solely based on whether a business is minority or disadvantaged owned. They still have to, be able to show experience to be able to, handle properly a building of this, magnitude, I guess.
That we have reached out to Hannah Jones, who's Deputy Director of the Development Department. The Ginther administration has made a significant commitment to make sure that the paperwork and the process for companies to get that certification, that they now have staff capacity to help navigate that. And so we're making those connections So if those are smaller firms that haven't been able to get certified in the past, the city's responsibility is to do that, and they're working on that. That's not Peerless's responsibility, but
Actually, it's a general question.
Yeah.
And it's really not that simple.
Right.
I was just asking. I do have another question. Pets going to be allowed in the building?
are pets going to be allowed in the building?
Yes.
I am a neighbor on Summit Street.
Well, let me just, it's in the MOU that they're gonna have a waste dispenser bag, waste, what's it called? Waste bag dispenser? I think I did that wrong. So it's, on a H, it's on a, what does it be? IX is 9. I think, so 9H on page 5. Pets. There's the stipulation that there should be at least one pet waste bag dispenser near the main exit from the building.
Just an FYI, those pet dispensers have not worked on 8th Street from Summit to.
Yeah, I actually put that in my comments to the MOU too. I was like, they're there, they don't work. So I think I put in my comments that there should be 2. But Aaron Prosser always said there's the funny story of the apartment complex that made you give a sample of your dog's poop. And then if they've ever found your dog's poop in the yard, they would fine like $500 or something. So I would totally support that if you wanted to do that DNA analysis. But it's a big problem. But I mean, we have the same issue on the same block, Georgina. I completely agree. Any questions from Zoom? Chris, do you want to unmute someone? With their hand
Yes,
up?
this is Deacon Gooseby from 7th Avenue. I had my hand raised and nobody recognized that.
Go
So
ahead.
I have many comments and questions. I'll back up. First of all, there was a comment made about gentrification. Gentrification has occurred in Wyland Park for the mere fact that many of the people who are homeowners there have been priced out of the neighborhood, not so much because of housing. So that was one thing that needed to be clarified. The second thing that really needs to be clarified is that on your agenda, you had it written as if 7th Avenue was endorsing that MOU because you were saying Pastor Roby and Michael Wilcox wrote this thing together. That's inaccurate. That's not correct. 7th Avenue does not endorse that MOU. And there were a variety of reasons why we did not.
Let me just, hold on, let me pause you. There was no indication of any endorsement. It was just on the agenda that we had Pastor Roby was going to chair the process of generating the MOU. We made no distinction of anyone endorsing, yes or no. So please don't make any insinuations about that type of statement, please.
But the
Proceed.
way it is worded, it seems as though that the church is endorsing it. So again,
No,
I'm reading.
again, no,
I
please,
hear what
no.
you're saying, and you're entitled to your
Hold
opinion,
on.
I'm entitled to mine. And so it's my
There were
opportunity
no
to talk,
statements.
Sir, it's my opportunity to talk.
Okay, but please don't make any
It's not-
insinuations
it's
about
not-
the
I'm
civic.
making an insinuation. I'm giving you my, they have this thing called op-ed, which is opinion. You know, I can give you my opinion. I can give you what I believe, and I'm doing that. So if you don't mind, please allow me to do that.
Proceed.
There were several reasons that the church did not endorse and do not endorse this MOU. For number one, integrity upon members of that subcommittee. Number two, the lack of architectural design, the lack of social and economic, racial diversity that's supposed to be included inside of this. It was just stated a moment ago, yeah, we can include minorities in positions like janitorial and custodial, but not important work. And then from our discussions, this is not even including union workers. So again, minorities and diversity is going to be kicked out the window for that reason. And then we talked about some of the things that, you know, you're saying 7th Avenue thought was important. Well, you're not really hitting upon the things that 7th Avenue thought was important. And to be honest, again, we did not and still do not endorse this for the mere fact, again, it is not seen in the best interest of 7th Avenue and the surrounding community that this is going to be a benefit. So again, I wanted to correct those things and make sure that what you were saying, if you're speaking for the church and it sounded like you started putting words in the church mouth, which was not accurate, I want to make sure that everyone there knows that 7th Avenue stands on its own, and we were told we did not have a vote, and we knew that. But again, when you invited us to be part of this process, we came in with integrity, we came in with open minds, and we came in believing that this thing was going to be done. It was going to be done fairly and equitably, and it was not. So again, we do not endorse that. I hear what Mr. Wilkos is saying, and he's entitled to his opinion, and I'm entitled to mine. So I'm viewing mine so that you all can hear, as Paul Harvey would say, and some of you old enough to know about Paul Harvey, the other side of the story, the rest of the story. And that's what I was presenting to you. Thank you.
I'd like to remind everyone that, again, the Civic has not expressed that anyone has endorsed this policy, just purely that we were going to discuss whether we want to vote yes or no. We were not saying that the church proceeded with this agreement, just a simple fact that we were going to discuss in the agenda. That's all.
Patrick has his hand up.
Go ahead, Patrick.
I just wanted to clarify, Pastor, when you speak of 7th Avenue, you're referencing the church, correct? Because I live on 7th Avenue and I don't want anyone to confuse or be confused that when you say 7th Avenue, you're talking about the entirety of 7th Avenue, when what you're speaking about is the 7th Avenue Church.
Correct.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify. So thank you.
Is there a second page of the?
We just had the two hands. Anyone else have any questions? All right, for everyone online, I did submit the two documents. If you guys have had an opportunity to review those documents, we will do a vote in person here, and then we will also ask the residents that have attended virtually to go with their vote as well. And I'd like to remind everyone that only residents are eligible for voting. You must be a permanent resident within the Wineland Park neighborhood.
Okay,
All right,
so-
Tanya?
Okay, so you've all heard all the information. If there are any more questions, comments?
Sure, I'll comment. Davide Cugini here. I'm a resident here, 5th Street. I'm also a real estate attorney, and before I was an attorney, a real estate accountant. I just want to let everyone know that what Michael said is absolutely correct. Being on the University Area Commission, having followed the development in this area, this will get most likely approved, as I believe it should. So I think the question here today is, are we voting on something that makes what is inevitably going to be happen better? Or if we vote no, are we going to end up allowing something that's going to inevitably happen not be better because we chose to try and impede the process, as opposed to what is being done by the efforts of this MOU, which is trying to help the process and make things better and get concessions as a neighborhood. I've never seen an MOU that, in my opinion, from a developer who's not bound to make this type of agreement, has given so many concessions that, oh, by the way, is going to be recorded and evidenced in the recorder's office, so that anyone can see that they agreed to this from now on, for however long that recording is there. And also with the opportunity zones, that this developer is basically going to have the incentive to have to hold on to this property for at least 10 years, maybe even longer if Congress extends the opportunity zone legislation. So for so many reasons, what we're being asked to vote on here today is making a long-term agreement for this neighborhood a better agreement than it would be if we just decided not to go along with it. For all those reasons, I personally am going to say yes. I, as a commission member, is going to say yes. And I would urge all of my fellow neighbors and all of you on Zoom to say yes as well. Thanks.
Anyone else?
I got a comment.
Laura, we recognize Laura, then the comment from the person.
Drake, we'll get to you, Drake, just after Laura.
I just want to, I've been working on housing stuff around the neighborhood for about as long as Michael, and I want to thank everybody who agreed to be part of these ongoing meetings to negotiate this MOU, because I can tell you, as someone who lives here, it's so sad to sit at meetings and listen to people yell at each other over these projects that our city overwhelmingly lets go forward anyway. And it's much harder and much more of a commitment to say that you'll get together with people you don't agree weekly for 2 months and work this out and try and find ways to make it a little bit better. And so I want to thank even those who ended up not being happy with the final outcome. The commitment they made to this project and to this neighborhood are just really, really commendable, and I appreciate it.
Drake, we'll go to you next. Did you have a question for us or a comment?
I have a comment. As everybody prior to me has spoken of better, my, I guess, opinion for my input, what I see as better is what is presented is subpar. So if there is anyone that has an opinion similar to mine, it's not no as of no, we're not doing this, but no, this is C work. We're looking for A work. So we're talking about better. What's better? What you could do is better. What I'm saying is, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, it's an investment, but the more you invest, the more is returned, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that's how it was written. The more you give, the more it shall be given unto you. All I'm saying is, it's not a no for ever, a no for right now. That's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else have a comment or a question before we vote? Okay, those on Zoom, you can use the hand raise for a yes or no.
We'll just have them like raise
your hand.
Why don't they
Oh,
just
you
put
can
in the
raise your
chat?
hand on, well, there are a lot of people who don't have their video on. so
Why
you
don't we just put in the chat,
Oh,
yes or no?
Yeah.
Oh, you can
don't
put
have
in the
your-
chat, yes or no,
then you
that's
have a
right, and we have it on record, absolutely, thank you, Michael. So, having done all discussion, questions, I'm now going to put the vote to the Wyland Park Civic Association. For those who agree and want to go along with the building project and want to agree with the MOU so it can be signed and disseminated, please vote. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Raise hands, okay? Abstain. Okay,
And you do
The-
online.
and we're
I would check
doing
the chat.
online. And we're going forward and ask for those who oppose.
All right, just a second.
Chris is checking online on Zoom.
Okay.
Any abstentions? Abstentions? Sellers? Abstentions? Two? Are you voting yay, coach, or abstention? Abstention, 2 abstention.
Two.
Did we do no vote?
Excuse me?
Did we do no vote?
Any no votes, Chris?
Not yet.
You have to
Okay.
ask for no votes.
Go ahead.
Do we have any no votes, please, on Zoom?
Ooh-wee.
Hurt?
We have 24 yeses, 0 no votes, and 2 abstentions.
24 yes, 0 no, and 2 abstention. I want to, we passed the MOU agreement and the vote to proceed. We want to thank you also for diligently going along with this process with us. I want to thank you for all putting in your time, as Laura said, and being as amicable as we can, even when you didn't like the result. I want to thank you for just being as amicable as possible in working this out. And I'd like to thank Matt Adair and Michael Wilkos for sharing and facilitating conversations. And I'd like to thank Kathleen Fox for coming in and doing a wonderful job as a facilitator. And to those of you who are less than happy with the results, you do have my sincerest empathy. And I hope that at some point, something can come out of this that will make your heart happy. The Wyland Park Civic Association will be here to see what other options we have for you and can work with you on. So having said that, thank you, everyone. Now, next, I'm going to bring up Coach Juan and his wife Tania of the Wyland Park Wildcats, so you can get an update on what's going on.
That's great. I hope this is not live. Let's look. I'm just picking up here. Is it?
That's good.
Okay.
How's everybody doing?
Okay, I'm gonna try this with my kids.
How's everybody doing? Okay, thank you, Mom. My name is Luan Sellers, Coach Juan here, Coach Sellers, but I'm known to these guys out here as the Wyland Park Wildcats. Man, a lot has happened with us over the last few years. In 2019, we ended that season as champions. So we are defending still of the first ever Wyland Park Youth Athletics Association Championship. Something we look to resume again this season against, let's say, local teams and other teams around the city. Right now, we are looking at pursuing competition in the Upper Arlington League, which is also in Grammy area. So we're coming back home locally. We've done a lot of traveling the last few years. I believe the city and Wyland Park misses us, so we're here.
That's good news.
Good news.
Which good news? Here.
Okay, by the hat here, this is completely different from this shirt. The shirt represents what we do here in the community and what we do for you guys. The hat represents my new position as head coach of the junior varsity team at Western High School. Columbus City School team. I'm enjoying it every minute. Our son finished what was it, the year before last year. He also graduated this year as well as our own star. So we knocked out 2 for the price
So
of
we
1.
have 2 graduates and 2 left.
So what we do here is nothing, extravagant, simple, but it's just youth sports. We offer football, basketball, cheerleading, the children in the community, other surrounding neighborhoods. It's completely free. There's no registration fee. We just want development and kids to get out and be active. Build that sense of community and connection. Our age ranges, we take them actually in younger, starting at ages 4 and go all the way to the age of 13.
Or it's
However,
flag football.
However, 4-7, to age of 4-7, their body is not yet conditioned for contact sports. You receive injuries young, they carry along with you. So we take it upon ourselves to make that division a flag team, just so we can teach you about football, and then you can make that decision yourself, whether you're ready to keep pursuing flag football or you feel you're tough enough to take one contact. A lot of people say, hey, I can time, I can take a hit. And so it actually happens. You change your mind. Exactly. We've been through that over the years. But it's, you know, it's a beautiful thing to see these children progress and develop over time. We've had children in our program for 3 to 5 years. These kids have went on, graduated high school. Some have children now, some are in college. On the downside, we have some that have fallen short. Rumor has it that you can't save them all. Well, we are trying our families and working diligently to save them all. That is why we've been one of the longest running youth programs here in the community. And as long as we're here, this team will be here because we make it happen. This we would not be here because we're just residents just like you. We love the children, we love building connections, we love to see unity between adults and children. Because that is where peace starts, that's where unity starts. So it's bigger than football for us. We're a family. You join this team, you join your families. We carry on. Go ahead.
So now we are officially a nonprofit program. We have been approved for our 501c3.
Yes.
So we are licensed to conduct business as a youth sports organization here within the state of Ohio and nationally. Also, to shed light on the opportunity that was given to us about kicksports.org. We did apply for that grant when we first given the information for it, and we have been approved. So the ordering is a little sketchy, something we knew we have to deal with, but at least we were awarded that. So we've been trucking on ever since. We started back May 29th, I believe. We held training sessions every Saturday from that point, 12 noon forward. And now we're in full blown preseason mode from Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 6 to 8. So anytime you guys want to walk through the park and see us out here. So you guys want to stop and watch practice and see what we do, you are more than welcome. You know, anyone who still wants to participate between the ages of 4 and 13, we welcome you home. You don't have a closed door. It's always open.
Yep. Just got some new people today. I think about 4 on.
Yeah. So our numbers are going up. We're improving. Are there any questions that we can answer from you?
Oh, okay.
We are starting out with our first car wash. I do not have an exact date for that, but it will be coming soon, so we'll be going through there and passing out flyers. I have been hounded for chili for years.
Chili?
Yes.
Our chili,
I do it. We do a chili bake sales and fundraiser. We have baked goods, and I make a nice pot of chili. Residents have. When are we getting the chili? When are we getting? It's coming. I'm gonna make
Order
the
my
chili.
cheesecake. I had one resident. She's like, "Have you started your cheesecake?" I was like, "No, I haven't." Sorry. I've been busy.
We have been supported by a lot of people over the last few years, mainly Wyland Park Civic Association, the Drums Foundation, Mike Wilcox, Matt, Joyce Hughes, Dallas Crusoe, Laura Benoit, her husband, family. We've even had parents here who've been with us this time.
She's been with us from the beginning. Her boys used to play for her. Yep.
Coach Hogan's, his sons went on graduate school, and he's been a coach with us ever since. So again, we are a family-oriented program. Once you join us, you're in for the long haul. So roar, on, go Braves, go Wildcats. Miss Longgift has a link to where you can get our nice Wyland Park apparel.
This one now, he just opened it up for these.
So we
And
have
the
the
blue
gold,
one.
we have the
You
blue.
gotta get one
And then the
every
other
year.
one,
Gotta get my yellow.
Laura has some already.
Laura has the
Where-
new
The one
20
Coach Hogan has? Yeah.
That's the 2021 one.
I ordered it just like
And now, finally, the regular season shirt is available. It is white, gold, and blue. Has the football character on the top, so Wildcats in the back. And on the reverse side, I believe it says, "Where's your heart?" Our heart's in the community. So where's yours?
games are. stuff.
Games will be posted on our Wyland Park page on Facebook. We are a little rough around posting the updates because we're so busy trying to make sure things are going. But we will post our scheduled dates when the season starts.
Let's all put in a
If
discussion
you
forum
send them
and
to
everything.
me in our little chat, I'll post them for you.
Okay.
So just keep in mind, we are defending champions. I haven't been beaten yet. I don't plan on it. 2019, first champions, and we also Kings of the Northwest on last season. We won out north. So,
Does the league that you all are in host all the teams anywhere?
Arlington, they have their own website. I haven't been to it. There's still a tradition of making sure that they have teams between their league and Grand League. So they're a combined league that we're going to compete. We want to let them know that we not only compete here in the city, but we've also been in Grand Dayton, Cincinnati, Middleton, like Cleveland. The closest we almost made it to was New York. We almost went up there. So we get around. We compete on a national stage. So I'm gonna get ready for this. If you see, we're getting ready now.
Awesome. Jody, did you have a question?
It was about Cheryl.
There's a link that I posted with this one. I know she's able to share it with the group link.
Oh, except for the one you got, I didn't open it back up today. I will do that probably tomorrow.
But the one that I have, I will post it, especially for you guys. Shirts, and I'm looking on the design of black. Any questions? Thank you for your time.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Ron. Thank you, Tamia. Did you say anything about the cheerleaders?
What about 'em?
Do you need new ones? How are they doing?
Oh, I'm looking at them now. No, so all of my older girls are too old now, so I'm completely starting fresh.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm fresh.
So you have cheerleaders, junior little girl cheerleaders. Awesome. Okay.
Going
Well,
all the way up to 13, from 7, the girls are different from the boys. We're doing 8 to 7 to 13. We
Okay.
have 1 4-year-old on our squad. That's because she gets it.
gets it, got it.
Yeah, she has it
She
down
gets
pat.
it. The 4-year-old gets
Now,
it.
if you have a younger one that actually, their attention span and everything, they can get it, then I'm more than welcome to. It's just when we have a big group, I can't focus on one-on-one.
Understand. Okay. Well, thank you
Not
so
unless
much.
Not unless you show up at my house.
And thank you everyone for supporting the cheerleaders and the Wyland Park Wildcats. Please look for a link, get a shirt. Awesome, awesome. And I just wanted to do a shout out for the graduates in Wyland Park that have been a part of the Civic and a part of this community. You're welcome. Okay, we actually, the Wyland Park Civic showed our appreciation and how proud we were of our graduating seniors that we knew of in Wyland Park, and we presented them with a little cash gift and a card. Georgina's twins and the Seller kids. So they were very happy to receive it, and we just wanted them to know that we support them and we were proud of them. We didn't really see any other kids, so that's who we had. And we want every teen who's graduating to let us know, and so we can, let you know that we're proud of you and we support you, because we need to let the young people know, just like the football players and the cheerleaders, that they're part of this community and that they matter and that we care about them. And so we want to see them excel and succeed as well. Okay. Also, I wanted to talk to you about the Columbus Community Sports Park. Larry Priest reached out to me a few weeks ago and talked to me about what's going to happen with the Crew Stadium. But they want to make it like this big sports arena or a sports, what do you call it?
A sports park.
A sports park where, we have options of what we want to do there. I was thinking more like a complex, because there's so many different things that they want to do there. And they asked for our input. He did come to our meeting last month and talked about it. And as it progresses, he'll come back and talk a little bit more. They invited me out to do a video, and along with some other leaders around the community, the Linden area, Clintonville, and other surrounding areas, Milo, about what it meant to us and what we would like to see there. So I don't know where the video is. If you see it, let me know how it looks, okay? Okay, so we're going to have Georgina come up. And is there anything you want to report? Come on up. Come on.
So safety has been, I'm the safety chair for Wyland Park. And I guess we really have not been in attendance much the past few months, including COVID. Shortly before then, in the past, we had monthly meetings at the neighborhood substation. That ended due to lack of participation. But I did have someone reach out to me, and I will discuss with Tanya if we need to maybe arrange to have a meeting, send out my email address to see if people want to reach out to me, any complaints. At one point, we had Steve Smith, our local officer, who is now retired. He would come to all the meetings, we could ask some questions and understand what some of the things were going on. Did at one time have a lot of complaints about some CPO housing or trash, not necessarily the safety of people hanging around. And I would report that, and at the meeting, we'd take notes, and also the person that Mike Davis would be there also. So hopefully going forward in the next couple of months, we'll set a schedule, and if people are interested, we'll try and regroup again.
Very much, Georgina. And just keep us updated, and I'm here. Good evening. Also, I just wanted to remind you that we will not be having the Wyland Park Festival this year because Columbus Parks and Recreation said no festival. So, okay, but they didn't say we couldn't do something. So Chris and I are putting our heads together, and we will keep you all posted on what it is that we can do. Maybe we'll have another movie night, and maybe we'll have some other little event. Some rock and roll band reached out to me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they were like really cool. And I'm like, well, you can come and play on my front porch. But he said, if you guys have any, I'm looking for their name. I don't know if you heard of them, but they said that they were from, here you go. Hi there, I came from an indie/pop group, indie, INDIE/pop group out of Ohio called Clashing Black. Anyone heard of them? They've been touring Ohio and Michigan with their original music for the past 3 years and was wondering if our festival was happening. I told them, no, thanks for reaching out, but it would be great to keep your information for next year or another event in Wyland Park. So you may be hearing from Clashing Black, who knows? So we're going to put our heads together and try to figure out something fun for us to do this summer, okay? Because it's about us having fun. We're out and about now. We just want to have some fun. And before Matt and Tyler get up out of here, we want to really do something with them, So, and did everyone congratulate the newlyweds? Awesome. Okay. Also, what else was anything else I need to say? Okay, did you need to say anything else? No. Does anyone have any old or new news for the good of Wyland Park? Sure, come on, Roger.
I just wanted to say again that 4th Street Farms is in kind of peak berry season and stuff is rotten on the vine out there. And I know Ashley and her kids were out there the other night. But we need more mouths over there just to eat stuff. You don't even have to do any work. Just please come eat lettuce, come eat cherries, come eat black raspberries, red raspberries. Everything is getting ripe. Blueberries. So yeah, I just want people to come over to 4th Street Farms, 1377 North 4th Street, and just eat anything you find that looks ripe. It is really just like, it's so sad watching stuff go to seed there.
Right.
And so yeah, just want everyone to know we're fully back in business. All the beds are planted. Stuff is coming. There's going to be tomatoes and peppers and eggplants and squash. And so as summer goes on, there'll be wave after wave of stuff for you. Yeah, you don't need to let me know. I'm happy to meet people there, to get people tours. I just live half a block away and I can just come over anytime if you want to reach out via Facebook or the 4th Street Farms email. It's on the
Posting on the discussion board that there's.
So we have both a 4th Street Farms volunteer list and a 4th Street Farms just public facing thing on Facebook. So if you want to just see what's going on, again, no obligation to volunteer your time. I know people are busy, but you have to eat. And we have so many herbs and so much mint if you want to make your evening cocktail, mojitos. So anyway, please do come and take whatever you find. I would be thrilled to see it all disappear. All right, that's what I got.
I was just going to say, we'll continue these hybrid meetings. So if people aren't comfortable coming in person, we'll still have a Zoom meeting. We'll have our speaker, and then we'll have people come out to the park. We'll probably meet around here again. So keep a lookout of our next meeting's agenda. And I'm glad everyone came here. It's nice seeing everyone's faces in person. So thanks for coming out.
Hi.
Thank you, everyone, for attending virtually as well.
Thank you.
Everything